What's this? Good girl. Are you hiding something? Are you? Can I see? Where is it? I am very excited right now. Also a tiny bit nervous, don't know why I'm nervous, but something very exciting is about to happen, which is that the camper van that I have bought myself for my birthday, quite a generous present, is arriving in about an hour or so. This was an idea that I had back in October. It was a very off-the-cuff idea. It's been, not going to lie, a pretty rough 5 years for me. And I just threw away a comment to my mum about, oh, maybe I'll just get a camper van and Pops and I will travel around the country. And then as soon as I'd said it, I went to bed that night and I could not stop thinking about it. I've always loved travel, usually abroad, but actually I've seen so little of my own country that this is kind of the perfect opportunity to do that. So I was up late that night on my phone looking at camper vans on the internet, and that very quickly blossomed into a full-fledged obsession. And then I spent basically every day until, well, today I guess, looking at camper vans on the internet and learning all the ins and outs of hashtag van life. I did see some I really loved that were way out of my price range. There are companies obviously that will convert a van for you, but I didn't want to wait that long because they usually have a waiting list of at least a couple of months. And then I found one up in the Peak District, which is 6.5 hours from where I live. It's been converted by a man who converts campers, and he lives in a camper with his wife. And he's done a beautiful job. So I contacted him and we started talking over WhatsApp, and he has been absolutely incredible. He has gone above and beyond. It barely needed any fixing, but I got an AA inspection just for my own peace of mind. So it's all done. The van is in great nick. I spoke to the mechanic. I feel very good about the whole thing. It's beautiful on the inside. It's an XBT van, so it's a very bright blue, which you'll see shortly. And he and his wife are delivering it today. They're doing a convoy of their van and my van, and then they'll go off and have a nice Cornwall holiday, and I will have a brand new camper van. This feels like it marks a turning point or a new chapter for me, and I'm just really excited to discover the possibilities of what van life might bring. I'm hoping I don't hate it. I don't think I will. I'm not planning to live in it full time, but I think Pops and I can have some really fun adventures in it. And I'm looking forward to taking you along on some trips with us. Okay, I'm going to stop babbling now, and I will talk to you later once the van has arrived. Oh my goodness. It's here. I've just got back from my first ever drive on the roads in the new van. It was a little nerve-wracking. Having a longer vehicle made me a bit anxious. Actually driving it was fine. It's beautiful to drive, nice and smooth and steady, and feels quite solid, more than my last car actually. But just gauging the length of the vehicle was quite challenging, and I don't have a rear view mirror, which I've always had a rear view mirror, so I kept looking at it, and of course it wasn't there. So overall it went well. I went to Morrison's, very exciting. I needed to get a second key cut, but they couldn't do it because for whatever reason. And then I came home, stopped at the Co-op just for practice of parking in the space and then backing out. That was a bit hairy. And bought myself a pain au chocolat to celebrate. So it was good, it was really good. I'm really happy with the van. Up. What's this? Up here, darling. Good girl. Sit. Touch. Eyes. Eyes. It's a good girl. It's a good girl. Yes. So here we are in the van. I've been getting Poppy used to it slowly so that she can start to associate it with good times, treats, fun walks, that kind of thing. She's never really been a fan of being on the move, unless it's under her own steam, obviously. So we had to work out quite a few ways to get her to feel comfy and happy in the car. So I really, really want to make sure that she feels good about being in the van for when we go on our trips. So she'll get in quite happily for a treat. Right, you darling? You can sit down. Sit. Do basically anything for a treat. Right, you darling? I'm just hoping she won't get too territorial because she's a little bit like that. But we'll just take it slowly. There's been a lot of firsts since the van arrived. So having a van at all is a first for me. I've only ever had cars. This is also my car, which is why it's such a small van, and also because I'm a little bit intimidated by driving something massive, but perhaps we'll work up to that, you never know. And then once it arrived, there was learning how everything in it works. Then this morning I did my first drive on the main roads, which I talked about earlier. And Oh, I had a cup of tea, but I've left it in the house. My next plan is to make my first cup of tea in here. I've now got a kettle, I've got the camping stove and some gas, and I'll just bring in some supplies from the house. I've got my fridge for the milk. So the plan is, at some point, Pops and I are going to do a little trip to somewhere and have a nice walk, and then make a cup of tea, just chill out in the van a bit, and then come home. And then working up from that, real baby steps, we'll probably spend the night in it, like outside the house, just in case and for peace of mind. So it probably sounds a bit ridiculous breaking it down into these tiny incremental steps, but it's all new to me, and obviously it's new to Pops, and it's new to us together as a team, and she's typically a little bit unsure about new things, so we'll just ease into it gently. But I am so excited to go on adventures and see new places and spend the night in our little house here. I won't be living in it, not at the moment anyway. I know people do live in vans this size and smaller, but for the time being, the plan is to just have it as my car, and then for fun trips, maybe visit family up country, that kind of thing. I'm really sorry about the helicopters, they keep circling and I keep having to pause the video while they go right overhead, so if you can hear a noise in the background, that's what it is. In the meantime, I've been measuring up inside for things like, I want to put a privacy curtain back here, partly for privacy but also for blackout purposes, for when we're sleeping, because the light will come in. I do have these covers for the windows, but I think it would just be nice to have something I can pull across. And then I'd also like to bring in some boxes for storage under the bed and in the cupboards, perhaps get a shelf or something to put along the side to hold things that I'm going to want to use often, like my tea making paraphernalia for starters, and just some things to make it feel homey. I was a bit worried that it would feel like being inside a kind of tin box, but it's so well insulated. I'm hoping the audio is going to come out okay. It's not echoey at all. There's a lot of insulation behind the carpet, and obviously the carpet helps to bounce the sound around and also keep it warm, and it's very snug in here. So I think we're going to be very cozy. So I need to get on the internet and order some things, because that's fun, and I will bring you along on the journey of making this van our home away from home. It's probably going to need a name. I've got a running list, and I'm just going to wait and see what the van feels like it wants to be called, if indeed it does want a name. I've never really been one for naming vehicles, but I know most people name their vans, and I definitely can see the appeal of that. I've also been thinking about how I'm going to make art on the road, because I do want to be able to go away for perhaps slightly longer trips, and especially if we're going to visit other beautiful parts of the country, I'm going to want to make art there. And obviously this is a tiny space and is not suited to my usual process. So I've been thinking about how I can make art differently, or perhaps even explore new ways of creating that I'm really interested in but haven't found the time for. So for example, I've bought these teeny tiny sketchbooks because I saw an artist on YouTube making art in tiny sketchbooks, and that's very much not how I like to make art. But it's the creative challenge of it. You know, what could I create in something, you know, just a couple of inches? And obviously it's easy to transport, and I can just bring my watercolours and things. So I'll be making a dedicated storage area for the art supplies, that's for sure. And I will be doing a proper tour of the van at some point in the not too distant future. I know I've only really shown you glimpses so far, but I'd like to do it the justice of giving a proper tour, and that will be coming in a future video. So if you have enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, maybe a subscribe, and then you'll know when the next video comes, and obviously when the van tour is published as well. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Something very exciting is about to happen. Okay, let's try that again, Bub. I don't even know what to say. I had a couple of, what's the word? This feels like a really, no?
You gonna sit down, darling? Help you sit. Good girl. Good girl. You see, it's quite nice in the van, isn't it? It's quite nice.
Where was I? No idea.
Blah, blah, blah. Oh, the bottom is showing. I do have these. What are they called? For f***'s sake. And I don't know what else. Thanks for watching.